There it is.
Are we good?
Now I can see you. Now you're live.
Yeah.
All right.
Perfect.
I still don't hear you though.
Can everybody hear us now that we're live? Yeah. So hey, how about we leave our selves connected over the phone on speaker?
Fair.
Just sound cool?
Yeah, that's cool. That works.
All right. Well, hey man, thank you for taking the time. Man, your Super Bowl thing was off the hook. you were out there putting it down. You had the bullhorn, which is my favorite, and you're like letting everybody know. You know what I mean? Scientology's a scam. Scientology's a scam, and everybody's like, "What the hell is this guy up to?" But man, I wish I could have been there with you, bro. Like that had to have been a blast. And you got to be super tired by now. I mean, you probably haven't slept in God knows how long. And in the back of that van last night, I was with you when you were sleeping. I think there was like 240 of us that were just chilling with you at that time. You didn't watch your back. So, I mean, it's good to have you here, man. And I just really kind of want to get to know a little bit about you. This doesn't have anything to do with me. This is kind of, I just want to know more about you. You have a very unique lifestyle. Not a lot of people live in their car, and not a lot of people live in their car and write fuck Scientology on the side of it. I hope I'm in far enough to say the F word, but not a lot of people do these things, man. Like, and, one could wonder if you're insane or if you have a passion, like if there's reasons for it. Like I have a reason for this, right? I'm gonna make them work to find out who I am. I'm gonna make Scientology work to find out who this guy is. But like, what's your life? What's your life been like growing up? Let's start there.
Well, I was raised with both parents. My family, I had a real good upbringing, which I know a lot of people don't have. In terms of like broken families and abuse, and had a very good upbringing. I went to college. I played lacrosse in college, played football in high school. Um, and I really did. I lived out in Florida for a few years. I lived out here in Menifee, California for a year. I've kind of been all over the place. Uh, my my activism kind of started about 10 years ago, um, when I went to jail for growing pot, marijuana cultivation. So
we've heard a little bit about that. You kind of dropped little bits here and there over your videos. I've done a lot of research, watched a lot of your stuff, and tell us a little bit more about how that went down.
Well, I became fascinated with growing indoors, just how you kind of play God or the creator or whatever, and all the different parameters of lighting and nutrients and the timing of everything to mimic the sun, to mimic the wind, to mimic the CO2 levels. And so I kind of got into the growing because I'm kind of like a nerd in that sense. I like all those little things, the little details. And slowly just started growing weed inside. And my house was raided by the sheriffs, the Kane County sheriffs, 10 years ago. And they basically came and took all my plants, all my grow lights, and I was facing 3 years in jail. It was a class 4 felony in Chicago, and I ended up going through a couple lawyers. I used my girlfriend's divorce lawyer at the time, which was stupid, but I ended up going through a couple lawyers, a couple public defenders before I was like, no one's really listening to me. And so I ended up starting to represent myself or presenting myself, as some people with law will say. and that led into about a 38-month legal battle, and went to jail for contempt. The police officers beat me up during trial, and they beat me up. They held me in contempt, and then they charged me with 6 more felonies, aggravated batteries on the police. So I did 118 days in jail. To me, that 118 days is probably the best thing that ever happened to me. It was the worst thing that happened to me at that time, but it really changed what my views on what's important in life is. The biggest one, mainly being my freedom and the ability to see a sunset or a sunrise wherever I want, in anywhere I want. And I realized that I had been to a lot of places, but there were so many more places that I wanted to go to, and that thinking that I was going to be in jail for 10 years or 50 years, that there was an opportunity that I'd never get another chance to go. So that kind of led me into, once I got out, into the whole van life, and kind of that's been a whole ebb and flow. So I ended up beating the cultivation charge on a Miranda issue. I argued it in court. The judge agreed with me, and the state dismissed the charges. And then the 6 felonies, I was able to negotiate a plea deal with the prosecuting attorney after about a year of in and out of court. And so I was able to walk away without any felonies. So it was a pretty big event for me. But that shaped me into just knowing what is the most important thing, and our freedom is really the most. Until you go to jail, nothing. Even all the people with all sorts of money, they were in the same cells, they used the same toilets, slept in the same beds, slept with the same clothes. So money didn't matter at all when I was in jail.
Most definitely, man, and like that can change anybody. I've had my little things here and there, and where I've spent some time too here and there, and it's nothing nice, right? It makes you kind of re-question what's important, right? What's important. And I did a video, I think it was 2 lives ago, where I talked a lot about love and how it seems to be more important loving one another than it is hurting one another. That's kind of the direction that I've been going lately. But I wanted to ask you, man, about how, there's Nasty Nathaniel.
I see him. He's in the chat right now.
He's in the chat right now.
Yeah.
There's,
what's up, Nasty?
Who's good at it. There's big area transparency. Who's good at it. You stop those po-po like they're cherry trees. Like, you take them down from the ankles, and it's amazing. It's amazing. Your skills. You know your rights. You know how to apply your rights. It's super important these days, because a lot of people they just give all of their rights away. The police they allow themselves to be abused. They allow themselves to get to a situation to where the cops can abuse them because they don't know their rights, and it's very important. How did you learn how to be like that? Because you're a pro at it, right?
Thousands and thousands of hours of First Amendment audits from James Freeman, Bao, Justin Pulliam, the Armed Fishermen, Rogue Nation, Rights Krispies, Armageddon Press, Big Nick, South Florida Accountability, Blind Justice. I've taken a little bit from everybody. I see what works and see what doesn't work. And I've I'm not an audit channel. I'm a protest channel, but the protesting always, when you're walking that fine line, that gray area, you always have the local sheriffs coming in and trying to stop the people who are calling. Usually they're false police calls, but they come aggressive to you. So I've done a bunch of basically audits, not going out and looking to do the audit, I guess. And the one thing that I could be firm and an asshole to a cop, but I also could be super awesome. And I've made friends with a lot of cops. I've already made a few friends here in LA with some of the cops who have talked with me. When I was out in DC, I made friends with some of the cops, loose friendships, right? Like, I'm not trusting them with, like, I'm not going to just tell them anything, but an understanding with them. And that has allowed me to be in places that other activists or protesters or even the media can't go into. And I've been allowed to be in certain places because of those relationships with some of the security guards at the federal prison, some of the DC special op police. And to me, humor will get you. You could yell at a cop and tell him "fuck you, pig" and all that shit, but if you get the cop laughing and still be firm with them, to me, that's where it's real powerful. And you'll pick up a lot of people outside of the auditing community, because the auditing community is very well. It's very male dominated. A lot of auditing channels. There's like 97% male, 3% women. Um, where my channel has been like 70% women, 30% male. And because I was protesting last year and the year before against pedophiles and rapists, I've my channel has attracted a lot of people who've had different traumas in their life. Stuff that I can't relate to because I haven't had those types of traumas, but so it's more, there's more women involved in mine than a typical First Amendment audit channel. And I don't know, it's just kind of weird. But I don't like being told what to do at all. You're just not going to tell me what to do. Like, I'll abide by the law and follow the law to the T. But if you keep changing the law, I'm not going to abide by it. And not only am I not going to abide by it, I'm going to talk some shit.
Yeah, and that's good, man. I love it when you do that. It's a good audience, right? This community that you're walking into right now, that we're both walking into, because I'm fairly new to this community too, is loving, caring, compassionate. They're there for you when you need it. It's a great group of people, really. And one thing that I noticed, you were talking about how you were catching pedophiles. There's a guy that I support that does that full time. I support his locals, and that's such an important thing. Scientology has just I don't know. We got receipts, right? Like literally, Serge says we have receipts of what they've been doing in those hotels, how they've been hurting these kids. Words like the one here in SD really make me question. They're too quiet. Those guys are too quiet. None of them come out to challenge me. Me and Colonel Snappy, we're from the same place, and we like a good challenge. We like a good verbal challenge, but they're not challenging. And when you go to LA, it seems like the videos that you've had so far, they've come out, they've tried to challenge, man, you put them in their place. Like we need people like you, I think, in the Squirrel Squad, right? We need people like you to be able to be there when the time comes, right? To lay down the verbal, the spectacular vernacular. You do have a way about doing that. Did you learn some of that in your past protests? How to be able to come in and show everybody, hey, I'm here for the right reason. My heart's in the right place, because naturally you made me feel that way. What protest was it that you kind of got a handle on that?
A combination of a bunch of different protests, a combination of losing a lot of friends about what I believe, and one big experience I had in jail was that I'm big into conspiracies and everything, and you start getting into some of the echo chambers, I guess, and you start getting real militant in your belief that if you don't believe this, then I'm not going to be your friend, or you're part of the problem, you're a sheep, or something along those lines. When I went to jail, all these people that were supposed to be helping me and all this, none of them were there for me when I was in jail. None of them put commissary money on. No one wrote letters. It was my friends and family that didn't have the same beliefs as me that were there for me. And so that was it took a while to process those thoughts and those feels. And when I got arrested in court, I was telling the cops, "Fuck you, pig, you stupid pig. Fuck you, da 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 da." And they came and tightened my cuffs, and they said, "Oh, you want to fuck me? Well, fuck you." And then they charged me with They charged me with 6 more felonies. And one of the I forget who said it. I forget who had said it, but one of the law guys I was listening to said, "You get more bees with honey." And I took from that experience, one, the experience with my friends of how I interacted with them, and how in the end, like, a lot of our religious beliefs or our different beliefs really don't matter to like real life. And when protesting, a lot of people want to mix and match all these different things and these different beliefs, and you have to stay so specific to what you're doing. And I've been to a lot of protests where the message is not clear. People are, it's all over the place. and I've done a lot of shouting and yelling and like that judgmental, but like winning over the hearts and minds of people is the most important thing. And a lot of times it's not the other group, it's the people who are like sitting in the middle that you really need to like focus on. Like, those are the people that you're going to bring over to your side if you could win them over. And you yelling and telling someone to fuck off and all that shit, it really doesn't. So from an onlooker outside, they're gonna just, they see that, they don't see what your real truth is. And the real truth of it is telling the truth and not lying and not stealing. And there's a lot of activists and protests that it's not about like just the truth. A lot of the live streamers too, and same with some of the auditors. It's kind of more of a fame and not about a cause, I guess.
Sure, absolutely, yeah. And you know, it wasn't until this specific topic came up. It wasn't until Streets LA went out there and was in the right place at the right time and turned that camera on that security guard and said, "You ain't gonna tell me where I can stand, buddy." And that's what set this off for this movement, right?
Yeah.
Was there was a diligent person there doing his job, watching the cops, and he didn't know everything about Scientology, right? He is, but I can tell you right now, when you listen to him, he's done his homework and he's getting there. But it was that First Amendment, it was that auditing skill and his instincts that told him something ain't right, right? And come to find out, LAPD and Scientology are like this, and you got a bootlicker out there trying to, kick him off the sidewalk. It was that bootlicker that that started the fire. Now here we all are, right? And I've known a little bit about Scientology over the years. I've known that they're disgusting, but then you start hearing people talk, like literally search, and then you start doing your own homework, right?
Yep.
And finding out just how evil and just how corrupt this scam is. And it's like, I don't care who you are, as much as you know about Scientology. Like, we all need to get up, stand up, and get these people out of our community. And you coming out here seems to be like a big blessing, right? To have someone that's able to even sleep in your van, right? That's very vulnerable, very, very vulnerable. To put your neck out there like that. I see 49 likes up here and 121 people. There should be 125 thumbs and 121 people. Like, this is some amazing stuff, man. This is good content, but it's good for people to see that we go out of our way, right? My wife is very scared sometimes about the idea of us going up against this. You are the one who said this could be linked to Epstein. This could be linked to all this other stuff, man. Like, Scientology is a very, very evil organization, man. But I really appreciate you coming out, and I appreciate you doing this interview, man. Is there anything else you want to say before we take some questions from the audience?
Yeah, the Epstein thing, like, I don't have any direct links, right? But it just goes to the accountability of sexual predators. the whether it be sexual predators or pedophiles, all one and the same kind of. But if you have an organization that's harboring and allowing and going after the victims and not the predators, that's very dangerous, and that they could most definitely be tied into the Epstein Island, and just in terms of the trafficking of women and of children, and there being no oversight or a third party almost on looking into that organization to have some type of check and balance to not allow those types of situations to happen. I think that's like super important. I don't care about the tax status. I'm I'm a libertarian. I don't think that you should rob from Peter to pay Paul. But to me, the Church of Scientology needs to be shut down completely. Fuck the tax status. If there's enough stories that I've heard to be sure that it's not about helping people, but uh, it's about controlling people. And I just think about like the church that I was raised in when I was little. Like, I'm not a member. Every once in a while, I go with my mom because they sing and there's a choir, and she likes me going to church with her. But there's nothing further than there's no pressure to come back. It's just an open door. It's open for whoever wants to come. And Scientology is the exact opposite. They control they control the participants within the organization.
Yeah, they control the participants 100% and brainwash them and take everything from them, suck them dry. I lost you there for a second. Yeah, I wanted to thank you for when you're shouting on the bullhorn yesterday. I want to thank you for telling people to buy those street kids candy. I'm a little street kid. I mean, my brothers used to go out and sell candy like that. And that was solid, bro. I was like, yep, I'm happy I asked to interview this dude, man. That's so hard that.
Well, it just reminds me of all like the different games I've gone to in Chicago at the White Sox or Cubs games or the football games. They're always outside selling the candy. The people
Yep,
from the ghetto around. That's their hustle. And so yeah, no, I didn't even think twice about it. I bought candy from them right when I got there. One of them.
absolutely, man. That was me outside at Tiger Stadium, man. So like, hey, we appreciate everything you do. I know I do. My family does. My household appreciates you. Let's take some questions from the guys in the audience. We have 118 people. So who's up? Any questions? Questions.
I see one. What's a valuable lesson you've learned from someone who was an opponent or enemy? Well, an opponent, no hero, every hero has a nemesis, and the the worse or more evil your nemesis is, the better they make you. So, um, a valuable lesson. I'll have to think about that, like the very specifics of it. Um, what's a valuable lesson you learn from an? That's a good question. Um, one one thing is, no matter how right you are, or how much truth you have behind you, what's more important is the delivery of that truth, not the actual truth itself. How you how you communicate that truth to others without being judgmental or coming from love with it. And um a lot of times I see like friends, including myself, with ex-girlfriends where whatever, they got cheated on or whatever, but then they start swearing and just kind of being awful because they feel justified that that person cheated. And the onlookers around, they look on and they're like, well, you're just an asshole. she might have cheated on you, but you're an asshole. So I think the delivery of a message is super important. So I'm not sure if that doesn't really answer the question, but if I come up with something better, that was a good question.
Well, hey, Lou, let me add just a little bit. It's I like to say giving truth with love, right?
Yeah.
Delivering truth with love, because truth is a sword. It'll cut you real deep, man. It'll cut you real deep. Yes, Gigi, I am from Detroit, but I want the questions to be for my guests, please. Any other questions? There we go. Go ahead and pick one.
Let's see. Okay. I notice you have an artistic eye and taste. Did you grow up with a thing for various art? No. I actually think I'm not artistic at all, and I never thought of myself as artistic. Um, but what I am good at is being real shitty at things at first and getting better and better and better. Like my graffiti on the side of my car. My first graffiti was awful looking. It was just white spray paint, like just regular letters. And as I slowly have gone protesting here the last 2 years, I've gotten better and better. Started watching like videos online on how to use, letters and just like different tips on the shadowing and stuff. And so I'm not a good artist, but I can get better at things when I go over and over again. Same with my streaming and my videos and my editing, because there's art to all that. Um, and I read somewhere that copying is a good thing. It's not a bad thing, like they make us feel in school. So I try to copy others who have done amazing art. So I'm kind of a thief in that, but I don't see copying as a bad thing. It's a base to replicate something amazing that someone has done and then adding something to it to make it your own.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's another question, right?
All right, read it to
I
me.
love that one. It says, "Do you think the LAPD are more corrupt than police elsewhere? And with the arrest of Aaron, do you worry about what they are doing?"
Yes, I'm afraid of the police, not Scientology. I'm a much Police will put me in a cage and not go to jail. If the Scientologists put me in a cage, they'll go to jail for kidnapping. And so the person who has the ability to put you in a cage is the most dangerous person. I don't think that they're any less corrupt or more corrupt than any of the other sheriff organizations throughout the country. I believe there's corruption in every sheriff's office, some very small, some very large. Um, it's the checks and balances that are off that are not allowing that to properly have accountability for the actions of the sheriffs. I'm going through stuff right now in Brevard County with my friend in Florida, and the sheriffs are corrupt. In West Virginia, the sheriffs were corrupt. They arrested me under bullshit. So this is a very common theme that we have, is that the sheriffs are corrupt. And now I believe that the whole setup of the sheriff is a very efficient. I believe it's a good way of law, but um, and I don't know the solution to it not being corrupt. But yes, it's most definitely corrupt because they get rid of the bad guys, and then some people come in, and then it's all about money and influence, and that's really what it is. So yeah, I don't think that they're any more or less corrupt than other major cities or towns.
Yeah, growing up in Detroit, man, I've seen some corrupt cops. Martha Simmons says, question, how many hammocks can you hang around the blue building, Hammockology?
Well, I think I'm gonna try to find out. At least I have my hammock. I know that there's enough room for at least six. You could go like three up before it starts getting sketchy. I've seen them double stacked and triple stacked. I've seen 4 or 5 high. There's not many mature trees around there, so it's limited. But I'm definitely going to be testing that whole. I'm all about breaking one law at a time. If you break one law at a time, you can really get your parameters set. If you're breaking 2 or 3 laws at a time, or in that, like, if they start saying that there's 2 or 3 things, then it gets complicated. You don't get to, like, solutions or answers. But if you do one thing at a time, so I established that I can have the hammock there. The next thing now will be the hammock will go up, and then I'll put a big poster across that says Scientology is a cult. And slowly it's uh we all want such instant gratification, and with protesting, and especially something like this, something this big, this is going to take months or years to shut down Scientology. I do think it's possible, though. Like, at first I didn't think it was possible, but as I'm watching all the different streamers and the channels growing, I do think that it's a possibility if enough people get involved and there's enough cameras on to make them. We pretty much have to make them so weird, and cancel culture basically is what needs to happen. They have to, all the reviews and people have to, they have to be ostracized, and ostracized way more than they already are. And I think the cameras are doing that. I truly believe that.
Yeah, and so are the legal battles right now that are going on. You know, it's like I feel like one of my missions is to make sure that I stay in line with that. You know, to remember what everybody's done before me, right? Because this protest has been going on for a long time. People have tried to come up against this scam and have failed. I've seen a good question down here by B-Lab. You mentioned you don't like anyone telling you what to do. Is that something that you always felt, or did it come from any particular experience? P.S. Don't need to answer if you don't want to.
No, I was actually a really good rule follower, and always wanted to, like, impress people, and, like, kind of just that. Yeah, I was a really good rule follower. I was like, I didn't party or anything in high school, not until, like, I was, like, late in by the time I was 17. I played football. I I was just very disciplined and very rule followy, especially with school and not skipping school or any of that stuff. Um, and I guess it was just starting to smoke weed. When I was when I was 17, I smoked weed, and I was like, "This ain't that bad. What else have they lied about? And who or what?" Like, I don't know I don't want to make a label of who it is, but, like, weed wasn't bad. And then that was, like, where my activism started with, like, I'm gonna grow a plant, and if you tell me I can't, I don't like you, and you're my enemy. And anyone who says anything contradicting that, I'm not gonna listen to. And basically, when I fought my cultivation case, every single one of my friends and family told me not to do it. They told me to take a plea deal. And so I had to listen to no one's advice. Everyone's advice was bad advice, because I was able to beat it without a lawyer. I was able to learn the law. I was able to walk away without a felony or without any charges. They dismissed the case. And the judge told me, he said, in 20 years, I can count on one hand the amount of people who have represented them pro se and have won. And I'm on his hand. And so all the advice from everybody, it took a lot for me to not take that advice and to just beat to my own drum. And now I'm so fucked in the head from being in van life and everything that no one's going to tell me to do anything at all. And when I and even stupid little things like the officer yesterday, he's like, "Put the camera down, come over here." I was like, "No, I'm not jumping through that hoop. You go fuck yourself. You know, you come over here, I could talk louder, but I'm not doing, if you tell me to fucking go left, I'm going right. I'm doing the exact opposite of whatever you say." And so, yeah.
Love that about you, man. Like, yeah, hey, not all advice is good advice. Not all money is good money. Trust and believe that. I got one more. You want to do one more, or
Yeah, I got what, dude, whatever. Let's get it out. I'm down. Whatever it takes.
So there was one back here that asking, it says, okay, has there ever been a incident that made you almost quit protesting and go back home?
Yeah. Yeah. after my protesting in DC. So I basically was part of this convoy. I ended up leaving the convoy because it was all a bunch of like grifters and liars, and it was just all bullshit. I started calling them out. I took all sorts of like heat, and like I took so much heat. Just everybody, all my like, no one was like, you know, you're on to something. Everyone was just like, you don't know what the fuck, except for a couple friends. And and I wanted to quit. I kind of like got away from it for a little bit. And then I came back out to DC and did protest at 1776, which was an offshoot of the convoy that I was involved in. And that created like a whole like internet fame, like this, you know, like I've kind of done this already. Like I've done this once before where, you know, I start getting a bunch of people sending me gifts and money and a fame, like a little fame. It was just a micro fame, but it was fame. And um it's weird to have. I don't I don't like to be put up on a pedestal. I'm just normal. I'm nothing special to anybody else. Um I just have the opportunity to do what I do because of the position that I'm in of my lifestyle. And yeah, I guess I forgot where I was going on with that.
It was a solid point though, because you know, when I heard Ron in Street make a call for action, like go out and film your org, you know, I was like, son of a, you mean like, you mean it was like they were talking to, because I have, you know, my situation's kind of like one, I can do that, right? Like, and it's not, there's nothing special about it. It's just knowing that you believe in a certain thing and you follow through with it, right? And I think that's what you're doing right now. You believe in taking down this cult, and that's what you're doing, bro. You're helping us take this cult down. Let's see what other questions we have. Hypothetical question. 2 public events at the same time, NAMBLA and Scientology. Where does D.O.A. go? That's a good one.
Between what? Scientology and what?
NAMBLA. I think that's like the Men, Boys, Love Association, National Association of Men for Boys or something like that. I'm pretty sure it's a pedophile organization.
Oh, okay, okay. I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, which would you go with, Scientology or not?
Well, I'm sticking with Scientology because again, like a good protest is a very specific one. It's a niche. If you start making it, for example, I just went to the border last week, and there was a border protest, and there was a couple Republican political candidates. So it went from a border protest to a political campaign and a border protest. Then someone came up and started talking about trans people. So then it became a border thing, a political thing, and a trans thing. And then and so that and then there was a bunch of stuff about, you know, this is a Christian thing. It 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 it, it was not specific. Not saying that any of whatever those issues were are less important, but when you water down a specific action with all these other things, you dilute the message. And so I'm on Scientology. I'm going to stay on Scientology. I went to the border because I was going after some bad actors. Kind of wanted to see the people that were there because I've been involved with the convoy people, and I knew the head guy who was running the convoy. I did an interview with him. He tried to get me to smoke some weed with him out in Indianapolis, and but me just going down there, I saw how divisive it was from what I'm doing with the Scientology. So I was gonna go and follow them, you know, to Yuma, and I decided I'm not gonna do it because I'm here for Scientology now, and I'm gonna stay on that. And that's a lot of people cannot focus long enough to stay on something to make it effective. That's the only way it's effective if you stay on it and you're there. You gotta show up. You gotta just show up. Like last night, I wanted to go to bed after going to the Super Bowl, but I drove over to the Scientology building and just turned my camera on and I fell asleep in the damn stream, and I had no intention of falling asleep, but just my mere presence there is enough. I mean, they called the cops on me when I went back there, and that shows the public. That's for not for me. It's not for them. It's for me getting in their heads so that they do dumb shit, so that the public sees that they're doing dumb shit, and that's how you get the message out. The more dumb shit they do, the more people are going to watch because you're just addicted to seeing what stupid shit are they going to do next. Because it's nonstop. It's been nonstop with stupid shit.
Yeah, they had a lot of stupid shit, man. It's like, it's nonstop content, especially on your channel. But like, you might have fell asleep, and they might have pulled in one of those Eagle Pass buses right around the back door and just unloaded a whole bunch of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is the human trafficking, guys. Like, anything can be happening at these cults, and especially the hours that we're not there. Like, we could put up a bunch of GoPros and put them in time warp, like, who knows what we would catch. But that was a good question. I have another one right here. I think that's kind of important. Are you going to go back and hit that Pueblo restaurant when you get back to LA or tonight, tomorrow, whatever? Would you go back to that restaurant that Scientology is affiliated with?
I will probably stop by there tonight and say hi. Because I'm back in LA. I think I'm in Hollywood. Yeah, I'm in Hollywood. No, that they're top of the list, man, because that's what it's going to take is everybody associated with it. It's not just the Scientologists, it's anyone enabling that. And so every person is either going to have to say, hey, we're not part of them. We don't want anything to do with them. And if they don't, then they're part of it. And so that restaurant to me is one of the is really a foundation of what really needs to be done is to shut that place down, because not only was it one of the victims of Danny Masterson drugged in that place, the owner, instead of setting up safeguards to protect against that, instead of doing that, she went to town for the person who actually put date rape drugs in somebody, and she's still there. So we only know what little we know about her. Who knows how many other girls have been drugged in that place? And to me, that's a perfect place to start. I mean, it's all been started, but like, yeah, and I think Laura had told me kind of about that. I had read it, and then Laura said that, and then when Minnie got not Minnie when Mindy got assaulted by that lady, neighbor came by, some guy came by, and he told me about the restaurant. And when all the other streamers came, none of them knew about the restaurant. They didn't know about those connections. But once they knew, they were on it like flies on shit. And so I think that if one of us just appears and just sticks a camera there, people don't want to sit there and eat and be called rapists or pedophile protectors. They don't like that. It's a moral high ground that will get the business shut down, and it should have been shut down already.
Absolutely. I would have to Google and look up Scientology right here in San Diego, and they got some guy on there called like the Internet Pro Guide or something, and he puts 5 stars on all of these places that are Scientologists, that are orgs. Well, there's 4 places on there: a resort, a golf course, the Pueblo restaurant, and then there's 2 other locations: the Human Ethics, whatever. Anyway, these guys are so stupid that they actually allow these little small slips to go by because they're playing by Hubbard's playbook. Hubbard's playbook is 60 years old, bro. Like, I don't even know what they're thinking. It's nonsense how easy it is to do all the bullshit. But we just need more people like you, man. And I know you're tired from your drive. You are guest number 1 on the Players Club. I'm going to make this, refine it, put it through the editor, and I'm going to have a little bit of clips. Some of my favorite clips from what I've seen you do through your videos. You got some pretty amazing clips. So I'm gonna add a little clip section on the video too to make it look nice for you. And I appreciate it. Thank you very much for coming on and talking with us. Thank you, audience, everyone. Before you leave, hit that like. And I'm gonna have a way for them to cash app. I'm gonna have your cash app link in my description, because it is not cheap driving that van, man. I drive SUVs. It's not cheap to drive that van. A little gas money never hurt, man. But we know where your heart's at. You know, I think I know where your heart's at. So thank you for coming on, man. Is there anything else you want to say to the audience? Anybody?
Yeah, thank you for having me on. I'm just as important as everybody else. All you have to do is turn on the camera and film, or just start speaking about it. I am not a furry, to the question in there, and just come from love and compassion and empathy, and try to have fun and smile and laugh. If you could get people laughing, even your enemy, they might love to hate you. And thank you, everyone, for just being awesome. And much love. Thank you for having me on, and thank you for what you are doing. I appreciate you.
No problem. Thank you, bro. Everybody, thanks for showing up. Again, hit that like button. It's super important. And go show your boys some love, man. Have a good one, guys.
All right. Good night.
Peace.